I was at a doctor's office once and I watched something I still can't forget. A woman, maybe 40, tired, waiting in line. She pulled out her phone, opened her messages, read something, typed something, closed it. Opened a social app, scrolled, closed it. News, closed. Messages again. 10 minutes straight, not a single pause. And here's what struck me the most. In those 10 minutes, the expression on her face didn't change once. Not at something funny, not at something sad, not at anything important. She wasn't reacting to what she was reading. She was just scrolling, as if her hand and her eyes were living separately from her, on their own, without her involvement. It was like watching someone sleep with their eyes wide open. And I want to ask you a very uncomfortable question today. One that's hard for me to ask honestly, even of myself. How many hours a day do we live like that? In a state where something is happening inside me, but I'm not actually in it. When the body is moving, the mouth is talking, the thoughts are spinning, and the one we call ourselves isn't there. If that thought touches something in you, stay with me to the end. Today we're going to look at who actually runs our lives while we think we're the ones running them. 86% of people, the first thing they do in the morning is reach for the phone, before their feet even touch the floor, before coffee, before the mirror, before the first conscious breath. No one taught them to do that. There's no instruction sheet on the bedroom wall. And yet, the fingers reach for the screen on their own, as if someone else is steering the hand. I want to talk about that someone. About the one inside us who makes decisions before we have a chance to think. The one who is already choosing reactions, emotions, resentments, and fears while we've barely opened our eyes. The one who has already decided by breakfast what kind of day this is going to be. Because until we meet this inner manager, no plans, no goals, no promises we make to ourselves are going to hold. He's stronger than we are. He's more experienced. And he learned a long time ago how to defeat our ill start on Monday. Scientists who study the brain say something interesting. By the middle of life, usually around 35 or 40, about 95% of our behavior, our reactions, our thoughts, our emotions become automatic. Meaning, they aren't chosen by us in the moment. They're being replayed from something already learned. Think about that. 95. Only 5% of what you do and feel in a day is your conscious choice. The rest is a program, one that was written at some point, rehearsed, and is now running without your involvement. And here's an honest question. Where did this program come from? It was written over years. Every strong emotion left a trace. Every fear shaped a pattern of response. Every wound taught you how to defend yourself. Every disappointment laid down an expectation. I'll tell you a story. Maybe it will remind you of someone, maybe even of yourself. A 5-year-old boy brings his father a drawing. He's been drawing it all evening. He put his whole heart into it. He waited for his dad to come home from work. And then Dad walked in, tired, distracted, his head full of his own problems. The boy held out the drawing. Dad muttered something without looking. Probably not out of cruelty, he just didn't have the energy. Something inside the boy tightened. But he was 5, and he didn't have the words for it. He just felt it. Showing someone what matters to me, that hurts. A week later, a similar situation. A month later, again. And by the age of 10, there's already a quiet, invisible setting installed in this child. It's better not to show what matters to me. At 20, he's a young man who doesn't tell the girl how much he likes her, because what if she rejects me? At 30, he's a husband who doesn't share his dreams with his wife. At 40, he's a manager who doesn't stand up for his ideas in meetings, and he calls it modesty, or being realistic, or just, that's the kind of person I am. But it isn't him. It's a program that once saved a 5-year-old child from pain, one that was necessary at the time, one that was a wise defense at the time. But now, that boy has grown up. And the defense that used to help him has turned into a wall that's keeping him from actually living. And here's a question I want you to answer for yourself. Not out loud, not right now, just inside. How many programs like that are running inside me right now? Maybe there's a setting that says, money is hard, or I can't be loved just for who I am without conditions, or I'm not the kind of person who makes things happen, or if I relax, something bad will happen, or better not get attached, it'll hurt later. These settings feel like the truth about you. They feel like your character. They feel like being a realist. But almost always, behind each one of them is a small child who was hurt very deeply at some point, who found a way to survive back then. And that way of surviving is still running in you as a program. This is the first important takeaway I want you to leave with today. What we're used to calling character very often turns out to be a set of old defensive reactions, not a life sentence, but also not the real me. That distinction matters, because if I think I'm just like this, I don't change. But if I understand there's a program running inside me, one I can see and one I can rewrite, then I have a chance. Friends, a quick pause. I know, these little requests are a bit awkward to make, but they matter. If this conversation is finding something in you, please give the video a like. It genuinely helps the channel, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Now let's be honest. If these programs really are running inside us, what do we do with them? The first thing to understand, you can't override them by willpower. It won't work. They go too deep. They aren't held at the conscious level. They're held in the body, in the emotions, in the neurons. But you can see them, and that's half the work. Maybe more than half. Because a program runs you only as long as you don't notice it running. The moment you notice it, it loses part of its power. Right away, automatically. It's like a magic trick. As long as you don't know how it works, you're amazed by it. The moment someone shows you the mechanism, the trick stops working. Inner programs work the same way. An invisible program is all-powerful. A program you can see becomes just one option among others. So how do you see it? The simplest way is to stop paying attention to the content of your thoughts and reactions, and start paying attention to the repeating patterns. You notice that you're irritated again. At what exactly? Is it the same theme as a week ago? A month ago? A year ago? You notice that you're replaying the same conversation in your head, the same kind of conversation, with the same type of person. You notice that in certain situations you react in exactly the same way, regardless of whether it's rational right now or not. Those are the tracks the program leaves behind. And by those tracks, you can find it. Then, one more step. Ask yourself, when did I first react this way? Not when was the last time, but when was the very first? Very often, people are surprised when they reach the source. Oh, that's that time when I was 7 and my father left us. Oh, that's that time in 3rd grade when I tried to embarrass myself in front of the class just so they'd accept me. Oh, that's when Mom would sink into depression and I thought it was because of me. When you can see the source, the program loses even more of its power. Because you understand, this isn't about today's situation. This is about that child. And you aren't that child anymore. This doesn't mean you need to dig endlessly in the past. It means seeing it honestly one time so that you can stop living as if it's still happening right now. And one last thing I want to say in this conversation. When you start seeing your own programs, it's going to be uncomfortable. That's normal. Because a lot of what you thought was you will turn out not to be you. And a strange feeling will come up. Well, who am I then? Don't be afraid of that feeling. It's a sign that you've become a little more free. For the first time after a very long sleep. Underneath all of these programs, there is someone else. The one you were before life covered you in all those defenses. The one the Creator had in mind when He was thinking of you, specifically you. That person hasn't gone anywhere. He's just been under the layers for a long time. And the path to real freedom isn't about rebuilding yourself from scratch by force of will. It's about gradually removing everything that isn't actually you, and returning to the person you were meant to be from the very beginning. It's a slow path, not a flashy one, but a real one. A short summary, so this doesn't slip away. By 40, 95% of your reactions aren't yours. They're a program, written over years. What you call your character is often an old defense, one that once saved a child. A program can't be overridden by willpower, but it can be seen. And once it's seen, it loses its grip. Underneath all the programs is the real you, the one you were meant to be. And you can come back to that self. If this video was helpful for you, I'd be grateful for a like. I know, I already asked, and it's awkward to repeat myself, but it genuinely helps. And any comment, even a single word, pushes the video forward. And if right now you're thinking of someone, a friend, someone close to you who you think these words might reach, send it to them. No pressure, just as a thought. Sometimes the word a person needs comes to him through someone close. It will help him, and me, too. Thank you for being here. Until next time.